on at the Mountainside House, which is, as most of us here know, it's in Ludlow. And so Jackie with her iconic silver braid.
Iconic, wow.
Is it 24 years now you've been with the program?
That's just about right, yes.
Yeah, okay, somewhere around there. I think it was like 2016 or something, as I recall. But
right.
so yeah, so that we can do that, and then a little Q&A at the end, if you don't mind, Jackie. And we have usually about a half hour, but it's up to you how you wish to do it. So take it away. Welcome, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie, and I'm the director at Windsor County Youth Services, which is a program that has been around Ludlow for a long time as Mountainside House. And we have a lot of things going on around here. Some new things that happened, I think, since I saw you last, even before COVID. You know, we have been able to expand things a little bit and have been doing some community work, both in Springfield and around the area with families through a funding source called PSSYF, Prevention and help for families to keep them at home and doing well. So, and that is collaborated with the Springfield Family Center, and we have an office there at the Family Center now, and a worker for a youth program for homeless youth, and that's a YHDP Youth Housing Demonstration Project, which is federally funded through the Vermont Coalition of Homeless and Runaway Youth Programs. And that program gets kids into housing, young people under 25, which is also an expansion for us. We used to only serve kids up to 22, young people up to 22. And so those things are happening. Started out doing a lot of direct care work with them, and of course went to virtual work for a while and are back at virtual work again around these things, although one of our workers is still doing some face-to-face work out in the community, carefully as she can. But that program gets young people housed as quickly as possible, and is working with some of the young people under 25 that are motel rooms, that are in motel rooms. They're a priority now. So that's some community work that we're able to do. But the shelters are still here as well. And it's been, as you all know, a crazy year. And some kids got stuck with us over the original shutdown, and it was really different for us because some of these kids were here for 3 or 4 months, from March through the next 3 months, April, May, some of them, because they were trying very hard, the state and us, not to move people, of course. So sheltering in place meant that young people who And of course, on top of that, they weren't able to physically see family members or friends. So we all got used to doing a lot of Zooming and other ways of, through Facebook, connecting with their families and letting them connect with their families. And we also spent a lot of time with these young people. Programming had to change a little bit because they were here longer. So, we did hiking and the summer program went to doing I wish I'd looked it up, but it's almost like you go around and look for special places in towns. There's a program that does that. So Ben, our teacher, was able to do that with some of the young people that were here. But that, we really missed the community service stuff that we like to do, some even with you folks. And it's been tough in that way. And as you can imagine, and as I'm sure you experience also as business folks, staffing has been really difficult at times because if somebody, we luckily have not had anyone who actually on our staff or in our programs that had COVID, so I'm happy about that, of course, but we've of course had scares. So once somebody has got a symptom or somebody's got somebody that they know that may have had it, then everybody has to start quarantining and trying to stay quiet. And so then we don't have the staff again. So that's been really tricky. Right now, as it's gotten busy again with COVID, it has gotten active again in the state. We have only got homeless young people who identify as female over at 20 Mile. We're not, there wasn't as much demand for girls programming as there is for boys programming right at the moment. And so for that reason, we've had to cut back a little bit and for staffing reasons. But we do have a young lady with a baby who's over at 20 Mile. And another young woman who's was homeless in our area, staying at 20 Mile. We have a staff person who's sleeping over there, and we're one person who's staffing during the day. Those two people are both over 18, and can be on their own to some extent. Over here at Mountainside, we've got 5 young men under the age of 18 who are staying with us and doing school. And school, of course, is in some ways easier here than it used to be because everybody's got the availability to remote learning. So our school teacher is busy helping kids with their remote learning as opposed to getting their hard copy schoolwork here for them. So in some ways that's easier. We had to buy a lot of computers and get savvy at keeping kids on computers and off other social media while they're supposed to be doing their schoolwork. It's been interesting and challenging and and worrisome, but we're plugging along one day at a time, I'm sure, as all of you are. So that's some of the things that are happening. I don't know if everybody, does anybody want to hear the spiel of how we got started and what we do here? I don't know if everybody already knows. Somebody's nodding their head. Okay. So Windsor County Youth Services was started as the Mountainside program about 25 years ago by Viola Wynn, whose hard work and efforts started out with about a $10,000 budget in a house, and she bought groceries and volunteered her time and had 2 volunteers and 2 awake overnight staff to house young people, mostly under the age of 18, who were struggling with family life and weren't safe really at home. She had been working at this school in Springfield, the high school, and she knew of a young person who was living under the bleachers because she really couldn't live at home. And Viola thought that something needed to happen, and she managed, through the help of the Community Trust, Land Trust, and Vermont Housing Authority, to purchase this house on 6 Mill Street, which is and was even more so at the time a duplex. And she offered housing to young men on one side of the house and young women on the other side of the house. And it was all done on a small grant and a lot of hard work. And since then, we've expanded to what we are now. which is 2 houses, both of which we own. One here and one in Proctorsville. The house at 20 Mile Stream's right at the foot of 20 Mile Stream Road in Proctorsville for young people who identify as female. And we are now $1 million budget, and we employ 26 or 27 people generally, including a licensed school program, teacher and an aide for that program, and licensed psychologist, and several case managers, and a lot of direct care folks who take care of the kids and keep them busy and as content as we can. And we do a lot of trauma-informed care programming groups, and a lot of family work, hopefully getting kids home. We have a contract with the state of Vermont to provide emergency beds to foster care kids. But as always, our priority is young people, keeping kids home and out of foster care in Windsor County. So there's always a bed available to a young person who needs to come in, or a family who needs some help and support. So that's who we are. Kids come here, they can stay up to 90 days, but it's usually more like 3 or 4 weeks while we do some work with them and their families to get them back in the community safely with family members is always our priority. Some of the foster care kids are waiting for other services or longer term placements that they need, but we do family reunification for DCF as well, usually a 6 weeks program, which includes family work and some visits home to see how things are going, collaboration with school and community services that will support them once they get home. So I hope I'm giving you a picture of what we're doing over here. We've always enjoyed working with the community. It's really a loss right now that we can't be out there doing volunteer things for folks. We used to do some family, some church suppers and, rummage sales and just green up. I mean, we did green up this year that we could do. But still couldn't get together afterwards, which is what's so nice for the young people. It's always nice to be out in the community. Everyone in the community always treats the kids well, and the kids really rise to the occasion, as some of you know, to do the work and it just helps them so much to feel like they're just regular kids who can be doing regular things. I didn't prepare a speech, as I'm sure you can tell. But I'm very much open to any kind of questions, and I enjoy talking about the kids.
Thanks, Jackie. I think that was great for not being prepared. You did really well. I'll start with one, and that is, being that COVID has changed so much, how we go about our day-to-day and how groups operate and socialization and stuff like that. What is it that we can do on a personal level or as a Rotary to help your organization?
Well, I think you all know that the biggest thing is always money, but also just, Christmas is coming. We're going to have some young people that are going to be here. So even just, outreach cards, anything small to the kids, is great. We'll have about 5 or 6 kids here over Christmas this year. And we'll have the young lady with the little one over at 20 Mile. I'm sure there'll be outreach. There'll be places to help her out. She's a young lady who's been with us before as a transitional living young lady. And when she turned 18, she moved away, and unfortunately, she ended up in a domestic problem and had to come back to us with the child. So she's just gotten back and she's just finishing up her quarantine. So, and luckily the whole house was empty. So the other young person in the apartment was able to move downstairs, and she and the baby are upstairs in that apartment, which worked out perfectly to avail her to quarantine for 14 days because she had to come back from out of state. But she left without anything. So, if folks are looking to move along household things, that's always great. She's going to need everything because she'll we'll get her housing as quickly as we can. She doesn't seem to need all the services of, the transitional living apartment, can live on her own with support, but and we'll find her an apartment as quickly as we can and move her along. But she doesn't have anything. So dishes and, lamps and, all those kinds of things. And working with the kids in Springfield and they come from all over Windsor County, often end up in subsidized housing in Springfield area. There's one client in Windsor as well. But those young people also, we can use that kind of stuff, silverware, towels, those kinds of things so people can move.
That's good to know. Anyone else have a question?
Try and unmute.
You just put yourself back on mute.
Oh,
There you go. You're all set.
you can hear me now? Okay.
We can.
Can you get us a list of the things of that young lady might need? That sounds like a good attic cleaning project for December.
We can, and we do have a Facebook page. Our and I believe that there's a list, but if there isn't, there will be. There should be. I haven't checked the last couple of weeks, but what was I going to say? Our website is down, but I will definitely get a list. And should I send it to Kevin to?
Sure.
I don't know. I could send it to Barb. I have her email, I think, because she
Okay.
just emailed me, right?
Yep, that's fine.
Yep. I'd be glad to.
I mean, just for example, I have 4 microwaves in the attic.
Well, I bet we could use them, I have some storage space again. So, we did do that this summer. So we had storage from the flood, believe it or not. And we finally got that straightened out and moved along.
Okay. So the storage is at Mill Street?
The storage, well, bring things to Mill Street and
Okay.
we'll get them from there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Barb, did you have something? Oh, okay. Anyone else with a question? Go ahead, Sharon.
Hey, Jackie, I do have some stuff for that young lady, so I'll make sure I get it down to you. Is the child a boy or girl, or can't you tell me?
It's a girl and she's 9 months old.
I'm a grandmother of 18-month-old twins, so I think my daughter has some things.
Oh, wonderful.
My other question was, can you still accept food? Could we make a joint meal and drop it off some night for the kids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And think of the kids, if you've got extra cookies, it's always great. And we get a lot of that anyway, but just, and we'll meet you on the porch with a mask on.
Right.
And,
okay.
Just knock. The doors are locked these days, I think. Well, not always, but they should be. So, but just knock and somebody will meet you with a mask on. That'd be great. Or call and tell us you're going to drop something off if you don't want to, if you do.
Right. Well, we'd probably, if I certainly will do it, but if the rest of the group wants to help, we would call maybe ahead and say, okay, Thursday night, we're bringing dinner or something. Is that
That
all right?
would be awesome.
Okay.
Sure. The staff would appreciate that and the kids would too.
So if someone's doing a dinner, what's the total number with the staff and the youth?
Under 10. So it could be up to 10, but it would never be more than 10 right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else? Well, I think, oh, Art, go ahead. Oh, we can't hear you, Art. I don't think you're close enough to the microphone.
Hi, Art.
No. Sorry, Art, can't hear you still.
Art knows my number. Give me a call, Art, if you need to.
There you go. That'll work. That'll work. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
Oh, Jackie, how much of your $1 million budget, where does that come from? What sources? Federal, state funding?
Yep. So the biggest chunk is the DCF contract because they pay for by the bed, each night. So the biggest chunk is from DCF. Fundraising is this probably the smallest chunk. The other is grants, and those include a couple of grants for transitional living through the Vermont Coalition of Homeless and Runaway Youth Programs for homeless youth, and grants from OEO at the state level, also a federal grant. No, that one's a state funds for young people, again, for homeless young people. And so that's the biggest amounts of money. And then the two programs that are out in the community, those are both grant funds. Yes, grant funded. And we do some Medicaid billing now for the, but technically that's part of the state contract for the DCF kids, or that PSSYF prevention grant includes some Medicaid billing, but it's also part of a grant. So, contract, I guess I should say. That's not a grant, that's a contract. So, and we did get some extra funds through the Vermont Community Foundation. Well, we have a small donation from them. Well, it's not small in my budget, but it's around $5,000 always. And then there's been more money through the Vermont Community Foundation this year for COVID funding that helped with air purifiers and extra computers and laptops, not just laptops, but tablets to do that kind of work. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Jackie? Well, if not, thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you. Thanks, folks.
We really appreciate you coming in, giving us an update on what's going on. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. Please get us that list and we'll see what we can do. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.
All right. Thanks.